We all are. We all are the artistic directors of the future. But I want us to always challenge the concept of who is the next? Who is the next James Baldwin? Who is the next August Wilson? Who is the next Lorraine Hansberry? Who is the next Kwame Krumah and Roy Williams and Trish Cook and Mojosola Adebayo, you know, and Winston Pinnock, who is actually one of our longest standing female British playwrights.
We've benefited hugely from Semelia's wisdom, expertise, knowledge of the repertoire. You know, she's got us into corners of works we would not have found otherwise. But also the network of artistic directors for the future has been hugely useful in terms of expanding the people we are working with, making new friends, making new colleagues, making new collaborators. We found new directors, new partners through that work.
In my grandmother's day, I remember she actually wanted to be an actor, and she was a woman, and you know, she was told that she couldn't do it. And I think that for all the struggles that are today, I'm also like pleased to be able to look back and see what far we've come, but we've obviously got a long way to go. And the whole initiative with BAME, you know, actually bringing to light that it's probably not all right when you see what's happening in maybe like Hollywood, when it's a cast of you know, 100% Caucasians, when it's not a reflection of the world, of society. And you know, the idea of art being to hold a mirror up to society is not necessarily what we're seeing.
It's interesting because I look at change, and I think change is bigger than just one person. It's a collaborative effort that all happens or begins within ourselves.
I spent a lot of time working on Shakespeare, and it expanded my mind, and it was brilliant. But also, there are so many other gaps to who I am, myself, how I understand myself and my history, and that just extends to everyone. I think the more diverse stories that we can tell, that we can share, that we can learn about, I think it's so much better for us as a society, and I think it will enrich our theatre industry as a whole.
And we've got energy. I think that's one of the things that we do have. We've got energy in abundance, and we've got dreams, and we've got ideals. And our generation now, we're not sitting back. We're going to be working on them, regardless.
I think people need to come together to have a basis, an informed basis of what the issues are, and then make an active change to do something about it. So, for instance, if people are willing to understand what white privilege is, that's just one example, and then from that, they can understand what the issues are within race and theatre, and then from that can understand what the issues are with class and theatre, then you can actually start making changes.
We are teaching our children, we are teaching one another, we are teaching our parents how to really make the most of one another. The key to survival in this world is to be able to see opportunity and make the most of it. It's what our lungs do every time we take a breath. And it's what we need to do as people.
We are what is going to carry the generations and futures forward. So we have to speak out. We have to advocate what we want in society. And we can do this through different mediums like theatre, like TV, because they enter your subconscious.
I think the most important thing is to be really open-minded and to acknowledge that we're all very different, and there is no such formula that you have to obtain and then go into the industry. I think, because I'm from the Far East and I'm bringing something quite different to this world.
You can learn from somebody. In classes, for example, like I'm always one of the people who stays behind and watches, because I find it very interesting how other people look at things. And I think that that's what's amazing or really nice about collaborating, is all these different ideas, but also how the other person's idea in some way can complete yours.
We very rarely live in isolation. Like there are not many people in the world who live just by themselves. We converse, we communicate with somebody, and you know, as artists and as an institution like RADA, you know, they should, and I believe are, always looking to stretch out and make sure that they are at the forefront of change, or they're at the forefront of of what it means to be curious, to keep searching, to be interested.
I think through the kinds of rooms that we can create, the kinds of processes that we create, the work that we are creating, the narratives that we're unearthing, and the sort of forms that those take, which we're really kind of exploding nowadays, and all sorts of forms are being brought in. I think that's where we start, because then hopefully that as we start to bring each other up and develop stronger relationships, stronger ways of working together, then hopefully that grows and that becomes part of institutions, because we are the ones leading them, hopefully one day.
It's about working together as teams, as families, as communities, as creative allies and collaborators. We all have so much to teach one another. We have so much to learn about one another, and we should enjoy that opportunity. You know, we should make a classroom of our lives.
I think when we're opening it up to artistic directors of the future, to the students that they have at institutions such as RADA, and of course the work that we have at the Canon, when you open it up like that, you actually allow for society to be represented as a whole. And this collaboration is probably inclusion in its truest form. It's about allowing everybody to have that voice, that platform, allowing people to exercise the opportunities that they may not necessarily get to do before because they don't have access to these works.
All of us have something to learn from one another, and it starts with speaking up and listening and doing both at the same time. And that's what art is. It's a conversation with humanity, and it can be so much fun.
What's been great about this is the partnership is what RADA brings to it, what Artistic Directors of the Future brings to it, of what Beyond the Canon itself brings to it, has made a thing perhaps bigger than any of the three of us could have achieved by ourselves.
I think that we have the unique ability to be anything that we want to be, but most importantly, we have the power to make changes in our industry, and that's something that I always tell everybody that I work with, whether it's our Artistic Directors of the Future members or whether it's actors that come through our Beyond the Canon initiative. It's really important that we see ourselves as powerful so that we can sit in the room and we can demand change.